بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمد ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد. I'm not sure how long this is going to take, by the way, but I'm going to try and just condense everything. The focus is going to be on embedding Iman in the hearts. Second part of it is culturing it to reach the level of yaqeen. Put your hand up if you have Iman. Yeah, some people are not sure, I guess. Put your hand up if you have yaqeen. Okay? That's good to know. Yaqeen. Alright, we'll come on to that. We'll test it. For the time being, before we get into anything else, I want you to answer this question. What is the purpose of education in general? What is the purpose of educating your children? If you want to discuss it, and I'll give you a minute for that. No worries, you can discuss it with me. What are you making?
I'm making the juice.
MashaAllah, it's a snail. Wow. Now you're going to make a kitten.
Yeah.
Mm.
Where's my needle?
30 seconds.
Talk about education as our overall, because obviously academic education is the demand part of
Education in general. So that's your math, science, English, everything included. Ready? Let's have some answers. Who's going to start? Start from the right? Yeah? Okay, mashallah. Are you looking for textbook answers? A lot of people do that, isn't it? Okay, look who's speaking. Oh, it's him. This is the answer he probably wants. Tell you honestly, I'm not looking for a textbook answer. I'm looking for, in general, what do you perceive as education? What has it been? You've been tending your children to glory, for example. What has been your focus? Or in general, other people, if it's not yourselves. Wholesome human beings.
To let them grow and a well-rounded individual and inshallah eventually enter us into Jannah through their deeds.
Okay, sure.
So, like for me, for example, going back a few years, and it would have been something completely different to what maybe it is in more recent years.
Mm-hmm.
So in the past, I would have probably looked at it as something that brings the kids as a wholesome, like they learn manners in general with the cultural background, then having the academic background,
Yeah.
which gives him a good grade, so he does well in his life. And
Okay. Yeah.
whether now
Yeah.
all that's important, but it's become completely at the back of knowing Allah Ta'ala, understanding Allah Ta'ala,
Mm-hmm.
knowing to live your life by Allah Ta'ala's like rules and basically everything then stems off that.
After, okay.
If you succeed and
Mm-hmm.
you succeed through life in other ways, then you're still, it's not just for yourself, as you're benefiting others as well. And
Good, mashallah. Yeah. Jazakallah khair for that. Tamimis?
To give them knowledge about like the world, Islam, and everything, so they become more understanding and grow well and become more better human beings.
Okay. Shrek?
Yeah, just catch on to a couple of these points. It's about education is about giving them the knowledge on how to live,
Mm-hmm.
not just work,
Mm-hmm.
and how to live in every single second that they're facing, any situation they face, how do they react to it? That should be your education.
Okay. So 11 plus, GCSEs, all of these is in order.
Coming to it, like next hour is you have to study. How
Yeah.
do you study? If you need to worship Allah, how do you worship Allah? If you need to read Quran, how do you read Quran?
So education isn't just the normal drill of this exam, next stage of GCSEs, then A-levels, but it's a bit more Broader than that. Okay, fine. Hold on to that. Look at this statement. In today's economy, it's almost impossible to avoid interest. It's just part of the system. What do you think of that?
More or less true, yeah.
Hmm?
It's more or less true.
More or less true.
Most people.
Okay. What do you think? What else?
I think it's true, and it plays to that hadith about not being able to make people get away from interest. There'll come a point where you won't be able to get away from interest.
Hmm. So what are you going to do about it? Can't beat them, so join them.
Get the fatwa.
No, I think you have to go against the grain sometimes. You have to look at what you need to do to stay away from it. Just because everyone else is doing that doesn't mean to say you need to be doing that.
Uh-huh.
It's almost impossible. It's not.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
exactly.
Almost impossible, not impossible. Okay.
Just, it may mean things may be a little slightly more tougher for you,
Mm-hmm.
at least initially. But it's one of the things that was discussed, like even with these houses and mortgages and stuff. If everyone, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it several times. Well, if just the way all these Indo-Pak people came over and they were so focused on halal, haram meat and stuff, if they were so focused by interest, they would come with a resolution by now. So.
Mm-hmm. So, in other words, you have a choice. Go with the flow, make excuses, or you have to, as Walid said, go against the grain and derive the compass of your decision making from something other than what society is doing. Yeah? Where you're going to derive that compass of decision making, we're going to come on to that. Here, read this one. I want to hear some of your advice so that I can give the same advice.
Is this case in point, one of the cases you've got to deliver?
Oh, many cases.
I think, I think there's an element to that where the horse is bolted, and now
Okay.
you're having to undo some of that damage and undo some of that stuff that's already well ingrained. And now you're asking someone to be very.
But having said that,
Nobody's asking anything.
most of us
What advice will you give?
after 18 anyway. Most of us start practicing after 18, okay, if you're thinking on those lines. 18 is still very, very young.
What did she do at A
What
levels
did you
then?
find?
She done maths, she done chemistry, she done physics. These three.
Take a gap year.
More than one gap year.
If she finds a good husband,
Yeah.
if she finds if her parents find her, she can get married and then they can start editing. She can study alongside as well. And get on with it.
Anyone else?
No, I mean more than likely if the child's obviously gone from one end to complete other end, it's more than likely because of the surrounding and the children that she's hanging around with compared to when she was younger. There's a good chance if it's up to 10 years that there's something still lingering with her which can pull her back out.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does in life. I've seen people who are basically doing well and then basically they might go off, but somehow down the line through like problems eventually when they come to them and stuff, they'll pull themselves back and stuff. So I guess one of the things if the child listens is you can maybe change their company and take them out of that circle and give them a year or 2 years out of that circle.
So what are you going to say to the child?
So obviously you'll have to take them out of that circle and you'll have to do time with yourself. Without actually
We assume that the child has gone off the track. She's been locked in until year 10. So she might be fairly practicing.
Yes, I mean, if the child
If she's practicing, let's say she's practicing, would we still tell her, go off to uni?
if she's no, but it sounds like she's not practicing like that.
Why?
Because it says
It says she's up to 10 and then she's finished and she's become like everyone normal, everyone else.
Everyone is bad.
Going slow.
What's going through your mind? Be honest. What do you want her to do? This is your child. What do you want her to do?
Start university.
gap year.
Gap year.
My friends as well. My niece, she took gap year. Well, she took 2 gap years, I think.
Okay, gap year.
And do what?
And then after gap year?
Then, yeah, university.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but what's the purpose of gap year? Because I know you're just answering this question a year later.
Just chilling, innit?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's something
You
that's
have to
going to
make it productive. You have to have
It's something that's going to be, then depending on the child or how bad it is, it's going to be something that's going to take a bit more effort than just taking them out, just giving them a gap year. So it might be a,
So you saying gap year? She's saying no. I'm wasting my life. I'm wasting my time.
yeah. Maybe take them out. I don't know.
We haven't heard from Tamimis.
I'm
Stuck.
gonna have a go at it. But
Does anyone? No.
There's not one right answer for this.
There's no wrong or right
Too
answer.
many things going on in my head.
What I'm trying to engage is, what are you basing your advice on?
I think oftentimes societal norms, what society expects from us, which is you finish A levels, you go on to uni, take a gap year, go on to uni.
So the problem that you're facing, why you're struggling to answer, is because you know the societal norms, and now you're trying to think against it. Yes? So you're battling your thoughts, thinking this is what it's supposed to be like, but we know that we don't want to take it there because maybe I'm asking the question. So we've got to look for a different answer. Okay, what can it be though? What are you basing your advice on?
I think a lot of it is formed by personal experience and what you've been exposed to.
Okay, so what have you been exposed to? You're going to be exposing yourself now.
I think just some of the ills of what people can get exposed to at university. I personally did. When I went to university, I went in, out, and that was it.
Okay,
And
disclaimer.
that's only because I went late, and a lot of people were a lot younger than me, and I just found them really immature, and it was just like,
Mhm.
I'm sick of this place, I want to go in and out. But you know what it's like. I mean, I went to uni, and there's people that I had Muslims coming up to me,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I was a practicing Muslim, and they were asking about, are we going out on Friday? I was just like, how did you even put that? So you see that, and you think to yourself, that's what university could expose you to. But also, I think I think this also, you need to look at future as well, because what would be the purpose of getting a young daughter to this, unless you have a certain pathway that you want after that. Now, I'm not saying restrict, she shouldn't have a pathway after that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying no to education at high level, but it also depends on what you want them to do. If you're going to go and put your daughter through a software engineering
Mm-hmm.
degree, which you know she knows she's going to come out to and do as a profession, then what's the point of her getting exposed to 3 years of that quote-unquote education? Whereas if you was going into midwifery or gynecology, then
All right. Let's move on here. I haven't even started, by the way. I've just been trying to dig out your brains. Okay. Now I'm not gonna go through this entire thing because it's gonna take long. I'm gonna fast forward. Shall I fast forward?
No, take your time. Are we in a rush?
Yeah, we have. Here we are.
Do we have to go?
I'm gonna fast forward, but I'll try to tie it up afterwards. The parts you've missed. This is what I was trying to work out. Where are you deriving your advice from? Are you using logic? Are you reasoning? Is that what you're doing? Yes? Yeah? This is what you're supposed to be first. The first question is, what does Allah want her to do? In the previous situation, education, what was it in relation to Allah? Many of you got that right, mashallah. Yeah? But in any situation, the first foremost thing is not for you to reason. The first thing for you to do is to go back, okay, what is it that Allah wants? Yes? That's where your iman is. Otherwise, your iman is your set of beliefs through which you're going to navigate life. Yes? If you're using your own personal experience, which many people do, now we have to go back, okay, where did you grow up? What kind of society was it? Was it an Islamic society or was it a secular society? If it was a secular society, you went through the same old schooling through secondary, A levels, and then whatever it is, college, university, your brain has already been wired to think in this framework. It's already wired. So automatically, you are reasoning based on what people are doing, what society is doing, and that's why your brain is battling it when you know, I've got to look for a Islamic way out of this. You see? Otherwise, a person's iman, when a person is navigating his life through the lens of iman, there's no other question, there's nothing else coming. You know, when you have a software and it's programmed just to follow the commands, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what it's going to do. It's not going to do anything other than that. So the first thing we have to realize is, where is my frame of mind and what is it made of? What are the commands in my brain that when something happens, what are the thoughts that trigger? What are the commands that my brain is giving? Your advice will stem from there, your decisions will stem from there. So in a secular framework, it's always about logic, rationale, and reason. And through that, you will decide what's good for the girl, what's bad for the girl, what's good for you in your situation. So everyone knows interest is haram. But a person says, you know what, I know what's good for me, and I know that I have no other choice but this. Whereas everyone else has an option. But he says to himself, no, using his reason, his logic, he tries and justifies it. So this is where we have a whole lot of garbage that comes out of it. From LGBT, XYZ, to atheism, to even Muslims then measuring Islam by the standards of the secular framework. So you find, okay, but how come Islam is not just? So the fact they've made that statement is they've measured Islam against something else. How come Islam isn't fair to women, to daughters? So what are they doing? They're already measuring Islam by something else. What is that something else? They will say, no, we're not measuring it by secular. It's just the norm. It's logic. It's just simple reasons. But no, it's not just simple reason. Behind that reason, there's a whole framework which we don't understand, that is being embedded in my brain and everyone else's brain. And until that framework isn't rewired to how it's supposed to be, we will say we have iman, but it'll be on our tongue. It won't be really through our heart. Because we're not navigating our decisions, our life, and our family through iman. It's all about everything that surrounds it. So Islam has become like one of those things, or iman has become one of those things where it's just by name. It's like how, unfortunately, you have some Muslim schools by name, but then everything they teach is exactly what is anti-Islam. Yeah? But unfortunately, that's a big problem that we suffer, and we don't realize it. That's the worst. Yeah? So, in an Islamic ideological framework, Allah is at the center of everything. So whatever thought process you have will be centered through Allah. Okay? Through what Allah wants. Through that, you know what is good, what is bad, despite whatever the society says. Then it's very easy to see what's halal and haram. And the iman, everything else will be measured by what Islam says, not the other way around. Now, these are certain secular principles which we probably have heard of. You are what you feel like you are. It's all about your feelings. Even as Muslims, unfortunately, Muslim counselors as well, Muslim counselors, not that they derive their counseling courses or information through the Quran Hadith, but they happen to be Muslims who's gone and studied psychology and counseling, taken these courses. Biggest problem that they have is they say they're Muslim, but they're only repeating what the secular, syllabus has taught them. That's it. If anything, at the most, they'll take one Quran ayah from here which matches what they're going to say, and they'll take a hadith from somewhere else which matches what they're going to say, and now it's become a Muslim psychology lesson. That's all it is. It's been sugar-coated with Islam, but inside, at the core, is nothing but secularism. So, Worshipping feelings. there was a nice video. I'll probably post it later on. It was a comedian. We'll go into that some other time. I think we're short of time. Equality means everyone has the same. Who believes in equality? No, everyone's going to just like say, yeah, I'm not going to answer this. Who believes in equality? Nobody? You do? Yeah? By what standard?
By the standard that is just.
So okay, second question is equality even practical? Is equality just?
I think it can be just. I might be wrong in saying, but in my mind, I'm thinking half of 4 doesn't necessarily have to be 2 and 2. That's not equality by just splitting it in half.
Okay, so what is it then?
It has to be just. It has to be measured. It has to be not reason, but it has.
So again, I ask, is equality practical? Huh? So this is a fence, yeah? This is a fence, and you need to look over it. And there's people of different heights. If everyone's going to be equal, they're going to be standing on the same platform trying to look over the edge. That's not equality. That's injustice. To treat everyone the same and to give everyone the same is injustice. Because nobody's the same. A man and a woman is not the same. Son and daughter is not the same. People are not the same. You cannot treat everyone equal. You can't treat your father and your friend equal. There's no equality. Islam calls for equity. Yeah? Equity is you give everyone their due right. Yeah? So, again, in a secular framework, there's no difference between a man and a woman. There isn't any. There's no difference between your feelings as parents and the children's feelings. Feelings are feelings. Yeah? You can't say you hurt my feelings once you hurt their feelings in a secular framework. Because you're just as bad as each other. It's okay to be naturally inclined towards the same gender. Again, in a secular framework, that's what they will argue through. Everyone is entitled to do and believe what they want, and it's all okay. There's this notion that everyone can have their own opinion. Yes? You have to respect everyone's opinion. It's valid. It's okay for them to have an opinion. Husband can have an opinion. The wife can have an opinion. You've got to respect it. That's not how the Quran is centered. That's not how Quran navigates your thought processes. Yeah. But this is the byproduct of us growing up in a society like that. And not actually countering it from the core. From the outside, yes, we look Muslims. But you'll find those who look the most religious having the most secular minds too. Yeah? And again, that goes back to, do they have iman, let alone yaqeen? Because yaqeen is outwardly, I'm at loss because I'm following this. Outwardly. But because I know the Quran says it, from inside I'm convinced, content completely that you know what? This is what is going to be the best for me. That's iman and yaqeen. Okay? That's very hard, by the way. That is very hard. And now, this is just the core and the heart. Now you've got to see how things are affected all around this. Okay? If I branch it out, iman and in terms of beliefs, that is affected by what's in the heart. Yes? If it's a secular framework, even iman is not there. It's there because you claim it to be there. Yeah? But there's a lot of people, even having grown up, they start questioning things, which is in direct contradiction with what iman actually says. Iman is, from your heart, you believe it. But if you're questioning it, that means no, from the heart you don't believe it. Intellectually, you've accepted it. It's two separate things. Yeah? One is, for example, everyone says they love their parents. Yeah? There's an intellectual type of love to it, where you know, this is my mom and dad, I have to say I love them. But inside, there's a disconnect. Likewise, with iman, with Islam, with Allah, people suffer the same. That intellectually they know that this is what they're supposed to be saying, they're saying it. But from inside, there's a disconnect. Okay. Now, these are the principles that need to be indoctrinated. I say indoctrinated for a reason. right? And it sounds very, very basic. It is very basic. But it's the basics that we need in order to progress. Without the basics, we can't go anywhere. Allah is God, the Almighty, the Creator, the Wise, the All-Knowing. Who doesn't know that? Yeah? We all know that, we all accept it. We are Allah's servants, He created us, so we must obey Him. No one has an issue with that, right? Yeah? But the question is, in practice, do we have an issue? And those in practice, when I mean in practice, if I start giving you different scenarios of daily life, that's when everything will come out. Yeah? And that's why I started with the scenarios to pick out what's on your brain from before. I can give you examples after examples of daily life where then you will start asking yourself, all right, did I make the decision based on Allah at the center and what the Quran and what the teaching of Rasulullah was, or did I base it on something else? I'm going to fast forward. Now, what is the solution? We know the problem now, isn't it? Yeah. What is the solution? And this is where I'm going to go back to the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That time, oof. I'm going to have to do that sometime other time.